Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
And good evening. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to you, April.
Good evening.
And I'm Ed McQueen, your co-host, along with Sister April Garner Davis. Boy, do we have something for you all this evening. I tell you. I'm telling you. A lot of us don't get the opportunity to go to, especially the Motherland, go and visit places like that. So we have a special guest with us tonight, April, and we're just going to get right to it. That's going to give us her highlights, and this particular special guest was chosen to do that because hopefully she's well known in the community. As far as I know, she is, and she's done some wonderful things, including all kinds of accolades here. But we'll get into that later on. And she had this incredible journey to the Motherland and Ghana in particular, April. So you had the opportunity to talk with her regarding that. And why don't you give us some highlights, or if you can just move further on with that, I think they'd appreciate that.
Well, first of all, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and we encourage you to post your comments and questions for our guest tonight. And we actually have two guests, one who is going to come on before we get into this beautiful story about Mary Cookie Goins' visit to Ghana, and some of the highlights and things that she will share about her wonderful journey to the Motherland. Tonight with us, we have Tiffany Andrews, who is the president of the Myrtle Beach chapter of the NAACP, who is going to take a few minutes at the top of this hour to talk about an upcoming event that is surely going to be educational for the community, but also it's an exploration into the intersection of race, religion, and bias. And also it's an opportunity to foster unity across the community through a conversation about these three things. Race, faith, and understanding is at the helm of this particular event that is being sponsored by and hosted by the Myrtle Beach NAACP and Temple Shalom. This coming Saturday, June 21st, there are a couple of conversations that are going to take place. One, and both of them actually are inspired by two great pieces of literature, one entitled Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, and the other, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. So before we get into the other highlight of the evening, please welcome Tiffany Andrews, president of the Myrtle Beach NAACP. Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm doing just great. Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, to kind of dive into it, it is really essential for all of us to pretty much be cognizant of the partnerships that is between the NAACP and the Jewish community. It's really been a cornerstone of the civil rights movement. And with that being said, we are grounded in solidarity, courage, and mutual commitment for justice. And knowing that is to also know that, meaning it took more than Dr. Martin Luther King, to walk across that bridge. It took many. And I'm proud to say that as an African-American Jewish woman, that my heritage lies deep. So with that being said, I wanted to show both copies of the book, right? The first one that April mentioned is Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. Very, very, very easy. It's on the screen, easy read. And obviously the second one is Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. Now, this will obviously, for many of the listening audience, dispel any of the myths that you may have believed, like Jews run Hollywood, all Jewish people are rich. Let's move forward to Uncomfortable Conversation with a Black Man. Black people are labeled as super predators, or that black on black crime is a thing. In reality, there's more white on white crime, but you don't hear that reported in the newspapers. Or I think I just dated myself by saying newspapers, but in the media. So, through this journey, we invite you to join us on Saturday from 3 to 5. Registration is required. You can visit our website, which is Myrtle Beach Convention, Myrtle Beach NEACP.com. And there's a workshop tab, and that's where you put in your first name, last name, email address, so that we have you registered. We can have account for how many people will be there. Currently, we have about 50 people that are registered to attend. And again, it is held the location 933 Broadway Street at Fresh Brew. There are some points that I wanted to say, and for any of those that have been following us, and I'm hoping that you followed us on our website and Facebook, this month, tomorrow on Saturday, it marks the 25th event that the Myrtle Beach branch of the NAACP has either produced or partnered with. Okay, there's only 12 months in a year. That speaks volumes. And we are a very, very committed team to cover from Little River to Surfside Beach. So we invite all to attend. And along with all of that, I'm going to get into the book, but I just wanted to just really point out that, we are here to serve the community, from speaking engagements, women's conference, work, visiting worship centers, donating to those that have been impacted by the Carolina forest fires, holding legal redress one-on-one private meetings, in-depth conversations with law enforcement when it comes to any gun-related shooting. So you may not hear from us, but they're hearing from us. I want to rest assured of that. And even taking a step further, knowing that mothers that need assistance, we're there to provide that for you when it comes to housing. And one of the things we're most excited about, and some of you all will be getting letters in the mail or emails sent to you, is our partnership with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, where it's not just offering the kid an opportunity to see a game, but to also see behind the scene careers that are available, not just as an athlete, but as a professional. And moving forward, our largest accolade is to support the community. And in doing so, from our Freedom Fund Gala, we donated $5,000 to Julie's Kids. Now, to my most favorite part of this whole conversation, let's talk about the book. If you don't have time to read it, guess what? There's something called Audible, right? So you can listen as it goes along. Now, there are two quotes that are my absolute favorite. Is it okay for me to share those quotes, or do you all have questions?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
you
share
go
the
ahead,
quotes.
show the quotes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
One is to make sure I wasn't trying to jump ahead. Under uncomfortable conversations with a Black man, um, I know everyone has heard someone say, I don't see color. I do. So what does that really, really mean? Okay, so the author Emmanuel says, not seeing color, it's not a goal. Seeing color and celebrating it while working to ensure that the color of someone's skin doesn't determine their access to opportunity. That's the goal. Now, that word opportunity, I'm sure you all heard on the Golden Globes when Viola Davis received that award. She said the only difference between a Black actress and a white actress is opportunity. That's all that we're asking for. Not a free ride, but an opportunity. And my most notable quote from Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew, it goes to, and I'm loosely quoting this, but if we can't talk about anti Semitism in the same breath as other forms of hate, we're not actually talking about justice. We're actually talking about politics. Now, one might wonder, what does that mean? at any point in time, we always have to pick sides. The right side, the wrong side, the side that you're most comfortable with, the side that you can lay your head on the pillow at night. But I wanted to make sure that before we wrap up and before there's any questions, that I have two provoking thoughts. One would be, are we truly ready to celebrate difference, not just to tolerate that? When doing so, might challenge us, our political or personal comfort zones. See, that's the beauty of these two book readings. You're in a safe space to ask questions, to gain insight, to foster a dialogue that we really never have had a platform that I know of personally in Horry County. Now, and the second thought provoking question, and I end with that, how do we build a just movement that acknowledges pain across all communities without creating a competition of suffering? I see
Tiffany.
head noddings.
Yeah, because I mean, the things that you've shared with us leading up to the book reading are definitely thought provoking quotes and just considerations. And, it's interesting that the NAACP is trying to foster a conversation, um, across racial lines, across religious lines. It's tough enough for us to have the real conversations we need to have in the Black community. And, now we're being encouraged to, of course, have those conversations across lines. So the hope is that your event will be extremely successful to at least, ignite some more thoughts and create more motivation to continue these conversations. And so we just, thank you for being here tonight to share with us what's to come on Saturday. And again, as she mentioned, don't feel that you can't be a part of these conversations if you have not read the book. There's Audible if you want to, try to get caught up or whatever before the weekend. But also, if you haven't read the book or you have not listened to it, join the conversation anyway. You can be on the sidelines listening to the other dialogue that's being exchanged. And from there, maybe be a part of the next one, or even get the book or whatever it is that you need to do afterwards so that it can further your understanding of what the conversation high points and even pressure points may have been. So Tiffany, thank you so much for being with us tonight, for sharing this. And again, if they need to register, they should go to the NAACP's website, correct?
Yes. And there is a button there for workshops. And right there, it takes you right to it. And before we close, I just really want to say one thing. Oftentimes, there is a stigma in Black America that we're angry or aggressive or all these words that I just absolutely deplore. Okay. However, there is a passage that reads, researchers say Black people that experience chronic racism can develop something that's called racial battle fatigue. Now, that's in the state where symptoms of anxiety, worry, hypervigilance, headaches, increased heart rate, and blood pressure. Now, interesting enough, it's been found that 1 in 10 Black people actually have, and it's been undiagnosed, but through this study, PTSD. So what you're feeling, it's a valid feeling. And now it's time for us to take mental health into consideration and to really, really get serious about our lives moving forward, joining forces, understanding one another. We're more similar than we are different. And I do believe there's a way for us to foster not just a healthy Horry County, but a healthy United States of America.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again, Tiffany, for being with us tonight, and good luck with the book reading this weekend. Again, you can go to myrtlebeachnaacp.com to register. Will the registrations close, Tiffany, or do you think it's just going to be open through Friday or whenever?
Okay, now I'm going to say this on behalf of Hope at Temple Shalom, because we're spreadsheet queens. We would probably like to have it closed by Thursday.
Okay. Okay, got it. So there you have it. By Thursday, register so that I'm sure there's some, coordination that's involved, and you need to get your ducks in a row.
And that's at 5 p.m.
It's from 3 to 5, sir.
From 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
I'll pull it up on this
Okay.
screen one more time. There you go. Yeah, this is at Fresh Brewed at 933 Broadway Street. Yeah. So again, thank you, Tiffany, for being with us. We appreciate it. And good luck with the reading this weekend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Have a great day.
Right.
You too.
Thanks for joining us, Tiffany.
Yeah. So, Brother Edward, there's always something going on in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Always something going on in Horry County, but Myrtle Beach.
That's what it is. It's
Horry County, exactly. And we're on the cusp of Juneteenth.
Right.
And there were some events that were happening over this past weekend. I'm sure there'll be plenty of events coming up in the next day or two in celebration of Juneteenth, and definitely on the 19th. And all of these events, even the conversations, the book readings, should make us contemplate, where we've come from as a people, what we know about ourselves and others. And it's a really interesting study when you think about trying to figure out all of that information right here in our own country. And then as we dig deep and we realize what our heritage is all about and our roots are all about, and we realize that actually we have to trace heritage and roots to outside of our country, obviously, there's nothing better than being able to talk to individuals who had the wonderful opportunity to visit other countries where their heritage actually is connected. And one of the things that, of course, we're featuring tonight is the fact that Mary Cookie Goings recently had the opportunity to visit the Motherland, and while she was there, she paid special tribute to her own mom. And so we've invited her here tonight to talk about that journey, to give us some insights into what Africa is really like, at least the Ghana region that she visited. And then there's some photos that we'll share of her journey with her permission. So let's go ahead and welcome Miss Cookie. How are you doing? Hi, Cookie, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm not sure the sound is.
You're good.
We can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Mm-hmm. You're good.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as always, I just thank you guys. Thank you all so much for the work that you do, how you in the last few years have helped me to pay attention, to be better, and want to do better. So I'm thankful for each of you, but I'm grateful to be here tonight. And I'm just on the first sentence and I'm already emotional, but thank you for having me to share excerpts, if I may, of my journey. For much of my adult life, I've always said, and I used to always say this to my mom, and those who know me know I've wanted to go to Africa. Didn't know where, but I just wanted to go to Africa. And so this past March, I celebrated my 65th birthday, March 8th, my 65th birthday.
Wow.
But prior to that, in July, was in the hair salon, and to make a long story short, my hairstylist, Sarah, was saying something about her client who was going to Africa. And I was like, what do you mean? Wait a minute. Anyway, there was a group going in September, which wasn't enough time for me to prepare and get ready. But I said to myself, the first thing I said was, thank you, God. You've heard my request for a long time, and you've answered it. And so March 13th, 14th, I became a part of a group. And these were all women I did not know. Did not know them.
Wow.
We met a couple of times prior to via Zoom. But when I tell you the power of sisterhood, without there being a bloodline. I know it was predestined, preordained that it happened. And so I made the trip to the Motherland. And my life has forever changed. You know, there's some who said, you know, they expressed as soon as they got off the plane and hit the ground, they knew. Mine happened a little differently. And I think, you know, some of the pictures will kind of attest to what I'm saying. Mine didn't happen as soon as my feet hit the ground. But it happened. When you hear people say that, it is true. It happened.
It happened the way it's supposed to happen.
One of the things that I always said, I'm sorry?
It happened the way that it's supposed to happen. It happened, you said.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for me, but one of the things that I wanted to do was to travel to Africa, but I wanted to take my mom. And January 20th marked 10 years of her transition. But I was able to take her to Africa, to Ghana, and she's there among the ancestors. So the entire experience, I came back saying to everyone, African Americans, people of African descent, taking the journey to the motherland has to be on the list of things to do. It will change your life. It will change your perspective. It gives you, for me, an enhanced godly sense of pride. And I learned some things I thought I knew, but I was able to see it. You talk about resilient. You talk about creative. You talk about appreciating what we have, whether a base or a bound. There was a sense of joy, not happiness, because that's temporary, but a sense of joy. And I can't wait to get back. I cannot wait to get back.
You'll get there. So, Cookie, are we having any issues with your audio? Can you hear us quite well?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Look, I
So I don't know, April.
You know, Cookie, when I saw your photos, you made a post when you came back, and I saw the photos, and immediately I could sense the spirit of Africa, how much you honored and respected Africa. There were photos of places that I've, seen others showcase after their trips, Door of No Return, the dungeons, different places. And even through the pictures, what was amazing to me is that you could sense the struggle, the pain, the depth of the history and our connection to those places. And on the flip side of it, you had some photos, and I'll share those in just a moment, of people who obviously take pride in the region. They take pride in their communities or their villages. They danced, they ate, they embraced the culture. And so when you think about what you saw over there in the motherland versus how we, I guess, embrace our culture over here, what are the stark differences? What immediately makes you think, you know what, like you said, everybody needs to visit? Because to me, it feels like you went there and you became recentered, because now you have a different connection to what it really means to be Black, or to have that African heritage, or be of African descent. And I don't know that we can get that, purely by just being here in America, because of course we have been, we're a hyphen here, right? We're African American. So tell me, like, what was your first feeling after immersing yourself into the community and the surroundings, and how it made you feel as an African American versus what you saw in the native land?
Well, the first thing, it wasn't long, and it was kind of like right on the spot. The people are so warm and so kind, and they know we are African Americans, but they know that we are family, that we're connected. And so the warmth, the genuineness, the appreciation of simplicity. I mean, I gathered immediately, they didn't take a whole lot for granted, but also that it doesn't take a lot to bring them joy or peace, and knowing that they have their own struggles as well. But when I walked into, let's say, the nail salon that's owned by a young daughter, and she has younger daughters, and they're providing service. I mean, this place was, I haven't been in a salon in Myrtle Beach that's like that. Mm-hmm. The chandeliers and just it's immaculate, like the sense of pride. And when they are serving, and I think any role where we're helping people or taking care of people, we're simply servants. I know I am. That's been my life's work. But they take it to another level. And just the sense of pride. And then when I walk in, now I'm really a senior. I thought, they said 50 or 55. Now I'm 65. So I was really a senior, but to an enhanced level, sense of pride for me to see them owning, not just running, owning and managing and providing these services. So hard work. But I saw more like of togetherness, of them pooling together. We went to a resort that was owned by 5 young men, and they just pooled their resources and came together And guys, when I tell you, this place was something to behold. Something to behold, where we went to eat lunch and then went out on the deck, and there were people out there getting massages, and then we were waiting for our turn to get on our boat, where there was fruit and drinks, and we're riding up the, say, the waterway or whatever, and we passed all of these big, huge, beautiful homes, and sometimes all of them were not so big, but they were theirs and they appreciated. And the boat takes us over to another island, where we get to see life as it is there, the alligators and the snakes and just all of these operations that they own.
Mm.
And they shared it with us. Their delivery was just so, again, so warm, so giving, so kind. And just for me, that sense of pride. It was just unimaginable. And yes, it's a being there experience.
People, whenever they think of Africa, and in conversations that I've had about, visiting, have said, there's got to be a side of Africa that we don't know anything about. Because, of course, we're used to seeing the commercials where poverty and famine is always depicted. And I'm not saying that's not the case. But Africa has always been seen as like this third world country where there is no opulence, there is no extravagance, there is nothing like what you just described. But what can you share as far as what you witnessed, at least in the part of Africa that you visited, that would definitely debunk that that myth or whatever? So
yes, yeah. Let me dispel that right now. That is an untruth. And so we lived in a mansion for those 7-8 days that we were there. And we'd leave our driveway and go down the street, and there was another mansion or bigger one. Right. And then we might ride down the street or the road where there was a home with a tin top. But what I saw that, but that's not what I saw. What I saw and what I focused on was the spirit of the people. The children were running around, playing and laughing. The school children were walking home, having conversations with each other. The adults were in the yard, whether they were stirring in the pots or the moms taking care of the babies. There was this sense of community and family. And that's what I said earlier, where based on our standards, whether abased or abound. And in my American mind, when I saw some children who I thought were of school age and not in school, I'm trying to figure out or create a way for all of them to get to school. But that was in my American mind, but it didn't take long. I'm telling you, there's a transformation that happens, or it happened to me. And I got out of that quickly. And that whether abased or bound, wherever they were, whatever state, they seemed to be joyful. And that was throughout, wherever we went. That's what I experienced. But let me tell you, they have mansions. We had a pool. You go up the street, ours had like 5-6 bedrooms. There's ones 7 to 10 bedrooms. They own resorts. They own salons. They own car dealerships. I mean, so yeah, that myth about, swinging from trees and not being educated and all of that is just what it is, myths.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, I don't even know, I can't, because that post, April, I had been back for weeks,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still in this space where I could not formulate, I could not organize my words and my thoughts, because I was still so high, and still am when I talk about it, when I think about it, on such a high from having been there.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
it mm, it
Is this such
Well,
a high because of
yeah.
your expectations or not expectations? You call you call that a high. It was because something you did not expect it, and it turned out well beyond your expectations.
I don't I didn't go, I don't think I had expectations. My focus was that I knew I was going home. I mean, people around me know I'm going to Africa. I'm going to the motherland. And I think because I went with such an open mind, but an open heart, I think that was priority. An open heart. What I got is what I expected. It's what I needed. It's what I wanted, to be able to get this true experience and come back and share and tell everybody. But I was back weeks before I could even post.
Find that to be interesting.
I think so too, because it probably took that long for you to not necessarily decompress, but to process not only your journey. I mean, in the beginning, you said you went with a group of women who you really didn't even know, so it took a lot of faith and courage to feel safe, safe enough to go to a land where you had never been before, with people that you were just getting to know, and to trust that you could have an experience that wouldn't be rooted in any type of fear or anxiety. And I'm going to pull up the photos in just a moment so that we can kind of go through those wonderful pictures. And until you said that, I would not have known that you all did not know each other. The photos, there seemed to be such a connection between all of you, uh, and that's wonderful. That's the way it should be. The vibe should be high, the energy should be high, especially when you're in the presence of sisters, true sisters, and then you have the opportunity to share
Yes.
the land, to walk, to actually walk on the dirt where we actually came from. So the experience itself, just, it really is a lot to take in, and then of course to unpack, to say to yourself, you know what, I did go, I enjoyed everything about what I saw, and what piqued my senses, but also the profound act of leaving a little piece of you behind. And when I won't even say a little piece, a large piece of you behind, as far as you said, you were able to take your mother to the motherland, basically, and also, leave something of her there. All of that is definitely a lot for anybody to process. So I'm going to add to the stage here. And Cookie, you can kind of walk us through what we are seeing. Can you see the photos? Are you able to see the photos, Cookie?
Yeah. Can you enlarge
Let
it
me
a
see if I
little
can enlarge
bit?
them a little bit. Yeah. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is actually, we were able to visit 3 slave castles, and that is the last one, or one of the 3 that we were able to visit. And for me, it was just knowing that I was in this space where my ancestors, our ancestors, had to endure being there. Obviously, we've heard the stories of them, being mistreated. And, in one particular shot, there's the dungeon in the bottom, but the church on top. The masters and the owners are worshiping and praising, and the church on the top. But our ancestors were in the dungeon in the bottom.
This beautiful photo.
Right.
Yes.
So these are the sisters, minus one. These are the sisters with whom, I traveled. We left from Myrtle Beach, went to Charleston, caught the plane from Charleston to JFK, and we met the other sisters at JFK, and they were from Jersey. And so we all journeyed to Ghana together. I was the only one from Horry County, one from Merle's Inlet, one from Georgetown, the other three from Jersey. And I will say that it made it so much easier because the person, Algreta Hatcher is her name, who organized the trip, actually lives on and off throughout the year in Ghana. So she knows the region. And when I tell you she knows it well, that made it easier, I think. But anyway, so this is us. We had our sundresses in the garden. So we toured the botanical gardens, which are beautiful. But for those of you who may be watching, if on my Facebook page, if you were to zoom in even closer, that tree is 3,000 years old. I saw it on Facebook a couple and went crazy and tried to post my picture, but they wouldn't let you post pictures. But anyway, carved in that tree are faces of people. And what it is like you start at the bottom, and it's like a progression of moving up, and you'll see hands reaching back to help lift the other up. And then when you get to the very top of that are like kings and queens. So it shows the importance of perhaps how we once lived, but the importance of reaching back and lifting up and pulling each other up.
You said 3,000 years old? 2,000?
3,000.
3,000 years old.
3,000 years old.
Yes. And I didn't know that at the time, but I was on Facebook responding to something, and there it popped up, and it's in Aburi, Aburi. That's the area where it is, and there it was on Facebook, and I recognized it immediately.
Any particular name that they had designated for this particular tree?
I did not go that far into research. As a matter of fact, when I saw it on Facebook, there wasn't a name or title, but just the history that it had been there for all of those years, thousands of years. And then just to kind of understand the purpose and, the carvings and what the message that it was actually, sending or sends to those who view it. It is absolutely gorgeous. And we were in Tennessee at the Civil Rights Museum, and in that lobby there is there's artwork. And when we went around the corner and I saw it, and I just let out this sound, and everybody's like, what? And so I was able to pull up my Facebook post and show them the picture that I think perhaps that artwork in the lobby of the Civil Rights Museum may have been influenced by that tree. And it's the same kind of thing, reaching out, reaching across the lines, lifting each other up, pulling each other up. Is somebody slipping? Somebody's slipping. Let me grab you. You're on my shoulders. You're on my back. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Right.
That's why I was asking about a name for it, because just pictorially it implies a village type, where you're making sure that you're bringing, or they're bringing, other people up to a top, and top is always, like the epitome of something, which is not a king, but something in authority, I guess.
Cookie, I'm going to scroll through the photos, and when there's one that really stirs you that you'd like to talk about, just stop me, okay?
Okay.
So obviously you all went on an ATV adventure, it looks like.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, well, I will tell you that is the adventure that for me never happened. I was riding on the back with somebody. He almost ran off a cliff. I jumped off immediately, and somebody recorded it. So that never happened for me. I was like, done. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not that adventurous.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Looks like you all are at a waterfall. Beautiful picture here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So a part of our experience while we were there was a photo shoot underneath the waterfall. And that's the entire group. That pictures the entire group. And sitting there on the front in the white dress, that's Greta and her partner. They have a business adventure over in Ghana where they provide the tour. So the young man is her business partner, but that's us under the waterfall. And another plug for a sister over in Ghana made those dresses for us sight unseen. We just sent measurements.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I say about the gifts and talents that they have. Amazing. So this, I think maybe after this one too, April, that's where my experience began. You know how others say that when their feet hit the soil? This for me, this right here this is the first slave castle that we visited.
And what exactly were the slave castles? Were they where the enslaved people were held, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There is where they were held and where they were kept, there and in the dungeons before they went through the door of no return to, get on a boat, never to see, the homeland again.
Okay.
But yeah, I think right after this one, that's our pool at the mansion. But I'm gonna let you keep scrolling. There's
It says we are back home. What was this entryway? This picture.
Okay, so this is actually the mansion, the home where we were.
Okay.
That's where we stayed. Okay, let me. Okay.
This is after reaching up the upstairs, I guess.
Okay, the one that right before, so that was a part of and there's one also that says the last bath. So that's the ATV thing that never happened for me. I sat there at that table until they got back.
All right. Okay, then there's this photo here.
Okay, that's on our way to the first slave castle.
And then this one, the caption was dungeon.
Okay. That is where I went somewhere, and I believe I went somewhere in another realm. Because when I came back, when I came to, one of the sisters surrounded me, and I was weeping profusely because I felt something, and almost to me, you could like just smell blood. But that's where I got my connection and had my experience
Mm.
of realizing that I was truly connected to the people who once came through this space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this particular picture was stirring for me as well. This is the one that I mentioned. You could look in, and I don't know, but I actually have goosebumps when I look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So a few more pictures here. Looks like you all okay. I don't know what this one is, but
That's a part, the bottom of the dungeon, and to me,
other
looks
than
like blood.
mm,
Another part of the castle.
okay.
Oh, that's the turtles and the snakes, and when we were at the resort and went over to the island
Mm-hmm.
on the boat.
Snakes in that that depository seem to be.
What is this photo, Cookie? This one is very intriguing.
Okay, so if you were to zoom in, like see that little hole, that
Right.
was the
Yes.
door of no return. So they had to
Mm-hmm.
come through that small space, and just to um, my left was the sand, the actual coast, where the boats would come up. They would come out of this little hole, go down on the shores, and be picked up and get on the boat. Yeah, that little hole there is the door of no return.
So it looks like you
And
were
and
at a
I
museum.
will say at I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So it was also here that um I took the tissue um that I used to wipe my tears, and I buried it on those sands. But I also brought a little bit of that sand back
Mm.
with me. I don't know if that was legal or not, but I did. I just a little bit in a part of that tissue that I had, and I brought it back.
Mm. So it looks like you visited a museum.
We visited several museums, and um, this was the entryway to. We had an outdoor lecture, and then in some of the pictures you'll see, like it looks like the heads. Um, it's the ancestral burial ground. So all of this was like sacred ground, and once we started moving towards that area, no
Mm-hmm.
conversation, no speaking, no conversation.
Wow. I'm gonna scroll through some more pictures and then stop at that particular picture. Okay. So
Okay.
this is the tree that we saw earlier. Cookie standing there by herself. Looks like you all had a feast while you were
Yeah,
there.
that's the
Yeah.
resort. That's the
Okay.
resort.
All right. And then more of the ATV.
Yeah,
Looks like this might
that
be inside of the resort. Yeah.
that's our dining area at the mansion where we lived.
Okay. All right. And so this
Yeah,
young
this
man,
is in one of
yeah,
the. Mhm.
go ahead.
That's one of the Dawsons or tour guides inside the second dungeon where we visited.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ancestral River. What was this?
Okay. Okay. The ancestral river is where they would take the slaves to bathe them and to clean them before they were placed on the auction block.
Mm.
And also on the path to this, through these, no conversation. There could be no conversation.
I noticed that this person that's walking through is barefooted. Was that required, or is that just something she chose to do?
No, no shoes.
No shoes.
Bear, we had to walk without shoes. And a part of it was to get the experience of how did they feel, because they didn't have shoes on, they didn't have clothing. And the gentleman shared with us that for some of them, there were these kind of very wiry type of weeds. And if they ever stepped on one of those, it was quite damaging and could be very poisonous.
Mm.
So yeah, we walked without shoes.
Okay.
Yeah. This was outside a mom and her children, and they were selling the coconuts.
So the next photo, Cookie, is the one that you were talking about with the head.
Yes. So if you'll notice, those are skulls, heads, images of, and it's called the ancestral burial ground, and that is their tribute. That is their tribute to the ancestors.
Seems to be some very skillful art there. I mean, really.
Very, very gifted.
Yeah.
Very gifted people.
None, they're all different. Okay.
Yes.
They're all different.
And no, you're right. No two are alike. I mean, they were intentional about creating this sacred space to pay homage and respect to the ancestors.
And what's amazing about what you see in the faces is that those faces look familiar. You can see anybody from any of our communities in those faces.
And April, you're so right, because I'm driving, or we're riding, and there's a billboard, and I see a homeboy. I mean, just throughout, they say everybody has a twin. What it was amazing. Like, there were at least 4, and I thought, oh my goodness. I identified immediately, who they were here in Horry County. If you could get to it, and I know we're on our time, there's one picture back at the river.
Okay. I'm at the picture that says last bath.
Okay, last bath. So somewhere in there.
Okay. This is a male slave dungeon.
It's actually a picture of the river or the water, and my hand is down.
Okay. I know which one you're talking of. Okay.
And did you guys know that cotton grows on a tree?
Cotton.
Really?
What?
One of those pictures back was cotton tree.
A cotton tree.
A cotton tree.
Yeah, and there was actually cotton, on the ground. Yeah, there's cotton tree.
Cookie, this ancestral graveyard, who's actually buried there? Are they enslaved individuals, or?
Well, this one, I think, is the one where, like, some of the leaders or whatever, after they're deceased, they're buried there. But behind that is actually one of the auction blocks.
You all are in the falls.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting close to that picture that you were talking about. Looks like some great food that you had while you were there.
Oh my goodness. And I stepped out of my comfort zone to try
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, there's the picture with your hand in the water. Seems to be a little
Okay.
piece of something. Yeah.
So for people, some people kind of knew, but none of my travel mates knew until I posted. So I said earlier that one of the things that I wanted to do was to take Mama with me to Africa. And so my colleague says to me, "Yeah, you need to do something in tribute to my mom," April says. And I was like, "Oh, what can I do?" And I was just lying in bed, and the Spirit gave it to me. So I took a picture. That's a picture of my mom, part of the picture. And that morning, I was just, processing whatever. And as the God was explaining it and sharing with us what that was and what was happening and what must have been going through the minds of our ancestors, is that they were going to go here, bathe, never to return.
Mm.
And I said, this is it. So I had the picture of my mom already in my purse, and I took it out and I prayed. Thank God for the opportunity that I could come, that I could be in Ghana, but also have her with me. And I don't think anything would have brought her more earthly joy at this point than being in Africa. And then it was at that moment that I released her spirit, to travel and be among the ancestors. And as simple, as it may seem, I felt a weight lifted because I have 10 years that missed her so much, but I thought for me this was rather profound, and that I was able to release her to travel and to be among the ancestors. And for me, that was ceremonial, but so powerful for me.
Mm-hmm. Is this a portion
When people ask, the first thing they ask, no, this is actually a little tiny flower petal, but it has this huge smell, this aroma that is so powerful.
Mm.
Can't remember what it's called, but it was just really powerful, and just learned so much about how they, in the past, how they lived off the land, grew their own food, and it was just the entire experience for me, as I said earlier, and it may sound cliche, but it was life changing. And I, one of the things that I was asked when I got back, well, what it looked like, what'd you see? What I saw was wasn't physical as much as what I saw and experienced spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it, because it's obviously that you're on a powerful spiritual journey, even as you recall what you did over there. It still stirs your soul.
Yes.
Your hand is in the water here. Is this when you
That's
released
it.
your mom? This is it?
That's it. Yes, ma'am. That's yeah.
Mhm. Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And Brother Edward, that is beautiful, and this photo is even more beautiful. Cookie, you are so
Ah,
photogenic. You are so
ah,
photogenic.
oh. That is my
It's gorgeous.
65th birthday celebration in Ghana.
Wow, wow. You look like a queen, an absolute queen.
Well,
Uh,
I felt
Beautiful.
like it, and I'm just so grateful. So grateful. And again, every person of African descent or connection needs to go, but everybody needs to go to learn about Ghana, to understand the people and the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just judging from your passion for sharing this with us, um, it's something that you obviously wanted to do. Is that correct? You wanted to do that very badly.
Yes,
Seems that way,
yes,
and we certainly appreciate that. I think a lot of us are envisioning, especially when April put up the photos, we're envisioning, actually how it was going and so forth, and envisioning what was in the front of these people as they were walking and stuff like that. And it made you get emotional, you know. Well, it did for me. I think I can speak for a lot of people. It created emotion.
yeah,
Okay, and it's something that it created an emotion for someone who wants to go there and someone who wants to see for themselves.
yes.
Okay, come hell or high water, you know, and for you sharing that, this may be monumental. I'm glad it's being recorded. But this is a history right here within itself. I tell you the truth.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, yeah, I recall, and I'm gonna say this, we're creeping up on time here, but if you recall, Richard Pryor, as controversial as he was with his comedy, the same thing happened to him.
yes,
Okay, it just happened so that he went to Africa. Ghana may have been the part he was going to. I'm not sure, but he went, and when he got back, the first thing he says that he's never going to be the same.
yeah.
That's what he said. And there's certain words that he vowed
That's
not
right.
to be used again.
That's right.
Okay, so it does something to you.
It does, and um, I can't wait to get back, be it to Ghana or another part, of the motherland. I am committed to seeking and to knowing so much to the point of having gone to Ghana has now inspired me to research my ancestry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's intriguing for me knowing
Um,
that, or without people like you who can come back and share those things. We just don't. We hear the wrong sides. I say the wrong side of places like Ghana. I mean, the commercials that constantly coming on, asking for money to feed this person and feed that person, and only 19 cents a day and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it gives one the impression that everything is like that. Okay, because they use the word Africa, which means that, you know,
yeah.
everything is like that. So we're just we're going to get better. Okay.
Well, Cookie, it has been an extraordinary adventure, I can say. Taking this journey back to Africa with you, and even through pictures, you've done an amazing job of letting us know what we're missing, and that yes, we do need to put it on our bucket. I know it's on my bucket list. I see Claudine Lance Schofield. Thank you for watching. It's on her bucket list. Betty Gauze is on her bucket list. So you've inspired a number of people, and Priscilla Fuller said that earlier. So thank you for sharing this very intimate part of your life as well. I mean, you have not only opened us up to the world, but also opened us up to your own personal world and your own personal journey and the inspirations for you in terms of why you even chose to go to Africa. And yes, your mother would definitely be just so, well, she is happy that you were brave enough to do this. And just thank you. That's all I can say for sharing and being willing to come and spend this time with us tonight. So, Brother Edward, this has been amazing. And I plan to go one day. And I was telling someone, I commented earlier, I have a colleague up here. She's actually from Nigeria and has said, April, next time I go, you need to come and, I show you everything. It's not like what you think. And just like Cookie has shown us, it's not like what we think. And so I think that's a wonderful thing. And we should all definitely strive to do it at least once before, our journey here is over. So Cookie, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And we certainly thank all of our viewers for sharing and commenting. Yes. And, giving Cookie these warm vibes and warm thoughts surrounding her presentation. So, Brother Edward, you can have the last word before we roll out for the night.
Well, all I can say is I was about to say thankful for the focus from some of our distractors who want to take CRT out of our schools. But this is this will really push everybody to want to go to places like Ghana now, all right? Because you can't get it in the schools. Whatever we did get in the schools, it was kind of like watered down. So now this pushes you to really go see the real thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everyone for being with us this evening. We do appreciate your support. If you have any wonderful travel stories like this or any other topics that you'd like for us to cover or wonderful people that we can feature like Cookie. And speaking of which, Brother Edward, we're going to give a special shout out to Cookie for her recent award.
Yeah.
She was,
she
don't want us to, but
Right, yeah. My understanding that, like each month, ABC, like 815, that's WPD, I believe, presents someone in the community, Aubrey County community, with what they call the Carolina Champion Award. And this time, Cookie was chosen, and the reason for having this award is to inspire people of extraordinary abilities to have extraordinary actions, so to speak. So this, I think, was this month's recipient, or last month's recipient, was Cookie, Miss Mary Cookie Goins. and it was for the reason was for that she endeavored to have the mission of using her family's home to provide a home for teens that are in need. And I think it was applicable throughout Horry County, or was it Myrtle Beach located to Cookie? I don't know. You can elaborate on it. But congratulations.
That's awesome. And selfless. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you. Keep praying. And I appreciate the encouragement and support for all the many people, not just Myrtle Beach, but Horry County, who have for years believed and just supported. So we are taking care of young people, and we'll I say stay tuned for graduation celebrations. So thank you all, and I do love and appreciate the two of you, but the work that you do and your whole team. But thank you so much.
Okay, we failed to mention April that Cookie's title that she's a director of neighborhood services in Myrtle Beach. Is that correct, Cookie?
In Myrtle Beach,
right?
It is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, again, we'd like to thank our special guest for being here tonight. Congratulations on your 65th and your recent acknowledgement, Cookie. Keep doing big things in the community. That's how you make an impact. And to those of you who tuned in tonight, this is going to be on Facebook and also on our WCMagazine.net webpage for the next week. So make sure you share it so that everyone can learn more about the journey to Africa that Cookie just recently underwent, and also to see all the wonderful pictures and to hear more about her adventure. And then, of course, remember, this weekend is the book reading that President Andrews of the Myrtle Beach NAACP mentioned, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man and Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. And if you can attend, it's going to be a Fresh Brew, I think is the name of it. More information is posted on the NAACP's website and also on their Facebook page. So thank you all so much. Juneteenth celebrations, I'm sure, are happening on the 19th. Make sure you are engaged in something that is Juneteenth related, more than just a day off, and celebrate us. Okay, celebrate us. So take care, everyone. Until next week, Brother Edward, I just want to mention we had the second week of the summer employability class today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the teens had a wonderful presentation by none other than Sherilyn DeWitt, who is a certified public accountant and a certified fraud examiner. Certified fraud examiner for nonprofits and other types of organizations. She's doing big work in her area. And she talked to the youth about personal finance, saving, budgeting, and even kind of dipped into credit a little bit, even though I know none of them had credit cards just yet. But they probably heard the terms before if they were listening to them.
But they're going to get there. They're going to get there.
She's planting some great seeds. So it was wonderful. And next week, we will talk about professionalism in the workplace and work ethics. We have a wonderful Dress for Success presentation by none other than the fashion diva herself, Tanya Robinson of Diva Unlimited. She's going to be a part of that presentation next week, and it's all virtual. So we're already approaching week 3 of this 6-week program. Time is just flying by. So we just want to thank all of our community partners and all of the parents and the students for participating this year. It's our first time doing this as a virtual class with a hybrid piece of an employment experience during the second week of July. So anyway, just wanted to let you all know what was going on there, and I'm sure summer literacy is well underway. So thank you again for supporting Brother McQueen and Sister Joella's wonderful concept, the Summer Jobs Program, and Marjorie McIver's wonderful concept as far as the summer literacy program. So
April, we might add that the program that was today came from Charlotte. Charlotte is all the way in Virginia.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's in Reston, Virginia.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like when you're virtual, you can get them from we can get them from Africa if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know. But yeah, she definitely, that was her way of giving back to the community because of course she's from Conway. So it was wonderful to have her on. Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for watching tonight, and we'll see you same time next week.
Same station. Same station.
Yes. Same station. Exactly. All right,
thank you, Cookie.
Everybody have a good night. Good night, Cookie. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.